Before we begin the latest episode, we just wanted to raise a glass and an eyebrow to Sir Roger Moore, who sadly passed away yesterday as we record this, aged 89. I'm obviously a huge James Bond fan.
I could sense that you were very saddened upon hearing the news.
I was absolutely gutted when I heard he'd passed away. Tom was with me at the time.
I actually went, "You're right."
Yeah. And as soon as I got home that day, I immediately stuck on The Spy Who Loved Me as a tribute. Roger was obviously a huge figure in cult film and television, not just Bond, but The Saint, of course, as well, the Persuaders, even little scene gems like The Man Who Haunted Himself.
I've never heard of that. That sounds fascinating.
Apparently his all-time best performance, his favourite performance, he said, it was a rare film in which I was allowed to act. I think it's fair to say that his was a face that certainly always made me, and I'm sure millions of others, smile anytime they saw it. So here's to Sir Rog. Nobody did it better.
I try to make films that are entertaining. I personally, my own feelings are that if there is a message to be sent, then you can send it better by post or through the telegraph office. And apart from that, people have enough problems in the world without going and seeing them on the screen. It's better they should escape from the humdrum, normal existence into the world of fantasy.
My name is Bond, James Bond. Kananga, poppy grower in thousands of acres of well-camouflaged fields protected by the voodoo threat of Berenstain.
A genuine Felix Leiter. Illuminating.
A duel between titans. My golden gun against your Walther PPK. 6 bullets to your 1. I only need 1.
But James, I need you.
So does England.
Two Geeks, 2 Beers and a Laptop. Episode 30, The Mandela Effect.
When I spent a holiday in the Bahamas in 1993, I was walking along the street when I met a couple of tourists from a well-known Western country. And then the husband stopped and said, "Mr. Mandela." I said, "Well, many people mistake me for that chap." And he said, "Would I be entitled also to mistake you for that chap?" I say, "Well, you'll be doing what many people do." He then turned to his wife and said, "Darling, Mr. Mandela." She was completely unimpressed. And she said, "What is he famous for?" And without waiting for an answer from the husband, she turned to me and said, "What are you famous for?" I must confess I couldn't answer that question.
Hey.
Cheers.
Old school. Spilt it a bit on my leg, but that's fine.
So we've already recorded one episode, so a little bit tipsy. Well, hello, and welcome to a new episode of Two Geeks, 2 Beers and a Laptop, the podcast that asks the question, what happens if you give 2 pedantic nerds alcohol? And this is a bit of a landmark episode 30.
Did you ever think we'd get this far?
I never thought we'd get this far.
I'm very impressed.
Even when we were recording the previous episode, I didn't think we'd get this far. I thought we'd pack it in.
Can I just say I'm sorry? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was shambolic.
If you've come back after that,
loyal.
Yeah.
We've whittled it down to the hardcore fans now. Well, I am Morgan Jeffery, and with me as ever is my compatriot in all things cult, Mr. Tom Eames.
Hello.
So, ordinarily, as you would know, if you've stuck with us through 30 episodes or 29 episodes, we will talk about a film or a TV show or a game, something along those lines that we are nerdily obsessed with. But this episode is going to be something a little different. So the inspiration for this came from a conversation that I had on Twitter with Benji Clifford. And Benji works for Big Finish, who we may or may not have mentioned in previous episodes.
Yeah, I've heard of these guys.
Once or twice. Big Finish, of course, are the fine purveyors of audiobooks and audio drama. And Benji is the co-host of the Big Finish podcast, which I am a regular listener to. And so Benji tweeted on May the 2nd, having a crisis because I remember a Supergirl TV series from the 2000s that never existed. So in response to this, I sent him a link describing a phenomenon that I've come across recently called the Mandela effect. And that is what we're going to be talking about this episode, is the Mandela effect. And because of that, we are drinking Stella Artois, one of the finest lagers, because the Cockney rhyming slang for Stella is Nelson Mandela.
See,
pint of Nelson, mate.
That is very impressive. I mean, great.
It's great. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Like when I first realised that, I was like, that's
clever.
Oh, not Stella.
But we do have to drink Stella.
Oh, Stella.
Get it down, you.
All right.
I mean,
it's not our worst choice. There was one time we were just so lazy and just had Carlsberg Export.
That was before we started making an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had no link. It was just what was in our fridge.
We make an effort these days, but if you guys want to send us beers, we keep saying it, no one's sent us any yet.
Why has no one sent us
That's
any
weird.
beers?
Why didn't they send us any free beers?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take Capri Sun. Don't care. Free stuff, I don't mind.
Send us free stuff.
Yeah.
So, right, the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect, if you're not aware, is a phenomenon in which a large number of people share false memories of past events. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what? Everyone misremembers things. We forget, or we misremember how things look and how they sound, and things that were said or things that happened.
Make up words of a song.
Yeah, exactly. You think, this, or you remember a scene from a TV show totally differently. You're like, I'm sure they said that, and no, they didn't. That's just how this is memory playing tricks. However, the Mandela effect is when a large group of people, and these are people who have never met, have never even been in contact with each other, all share the same false memory.
Yeah. Do you think this is something that existed before social media existed?
Well, who knows? Maybe the internet is bringing people together, but so they're exchanging ideas and it all becomes blurred. But the idea behind the Mandela effect is not just that these people have never met.
No,
it's the
same exact thing.
And they've never even been in touch with each other. They've never even spoken to each other, and yet when they do eventually get together, they find that they share an incorrect memory to sometimes very minute details. They share the same false memory. So there was a blogger called Fiona Broom who in fact coined the term Mandela effect, and she said, "See, I thought," and this is the origins behind the naming of it. "See, I thought Nelson Mandela died in prison. I thought I remembered it clearly, complete with news clips of his funeral, the mourning in South Africa, some rioting in cities, and the heartfelt speech by his widow." So, detail.
Yeah.
Then she says, "I found out he was still alive." So it's a very specific false memory. It's not just I thought that, because you get that sometimes you go, "Oh, I'll be honest, I thought he was already dead." We've all had that. I won't name any names, but we've all had that.
Yeah.
We've all had that. Yeah. But this is a totally fictitious series of memories.
But couldn't it just be that, Nelson Mandela was in prison for a long time, and people just had horrible dreams of him dying in prison, and they just remembering the dream?
So maybe Fiona, maybe she just had a bad dream, and that was what she sort of supplanted in her brain, the real memory. Yeah. So just her delusion. Yeah. Sure. However, in 2010, Fiona attended the Dragon Con convention, where
that sounds incredible.
It sounds good, right?
Dragon Con,
where she met a bunch of other people, and she brought up this thing. Oh yeah, I remember Nelson Mandela dying, and she met lots of other people who were like, "Well, yeah," and she was like, "No."
Yeah, he's alright. He's doing alright.
And they got to talking. Turns out loads of other people had this same memory of Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s, and but down to the minute details, they shared the same false memories with her. So, totally freaked out by this. Broom launched the site MandelaEffect.com in 2010 to document various examples of the phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Now, some have speculated...
Parallel universe.
Well, exactly. That the memories are caused by a parallel universe spilling... Actually, I'm going to do this in... Some have speculated that the memories are caused by a parallel universe spilling into our own, while others explain the phenomenon as a failure of collective memory.
You mean George Takei?
No, that would be. I was doing the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I know.
The scary
George Takei.
George Takei would be.
Oh my!
Some have speculated that the memories are caused by parallel universes spilling into our own. While others,
now do Roger Moore.
While others explain the phenomenon as a failure of collective memory. Oh my!
Oh my!
Roger Moore. Oh, can I? I'm going to change story and say, someone speculated that the memories are caused by parallel universes spilling into our own. Oh, when are we going to see you again? No.
Can't we just stick to the status quo?
Can't we just stick to the status quo? No, let's go. Right. In case you didn't catch that, some people think it's parallel universes. Yeah. And there's some kind of weird reality warp.
But it's like in the last episode of Lost, where they sort of delved into the Flash Sideways universe.
Yes.
Sort of link between the two.
But people are thinking that an alternate universe in which Nelson Mandela did die has somehow leaked into our own, which has given people these false memories.
So what they're sort of they're getting morphing into their own self in that parallel universe, and the memories are getting mismatched.
Yeah, exactly. They're having visions of the parallel world.
That sounds legit.
Sure. Well, the internet being what it is, many more examples of the Mandela effect have been cited since the original Nelson Mandela incident. Now, some of these I've seen some of these on the internet, and some of them are pretty spurious. I'll be honest, because
a lot of them must be just when you just
misremembered that. Yeah. Well, one of them, here's a perfect example of that. One of them is like people saying, I remember Darth Vader saying, Luke, I am your father. And actually he says, no, I am your father. And it's like, that's just you misremembering.
Yeah, that's like play it again, Sam. He doesn't actually say it. He says, play it, Sam.
Yeah, he says, play it one more time, Sam. Yeah. And he doesn't say, Luke, I am your father. No. He says, no, I am your father.
No, I am your father.
And of course there's endless spoofs of that scene in which someone probably does say, Luke, I'm your father. It's supplanted the original. It makes sense that lots of people would have misremembered that. That's not a big deal. However, there are some more convincing cases, starting with this.
Somewhere deep in Bear Country lives a Berenstain Bear family. The kind of furry around the torso. They're a lot like people, only more so.
Yes, the Berenstain Bears. They're a lot like people, only more so. Except they're not, because they're bears.
I mean, I was convinced, listening back to that was Dolly Parton. It's not. It's apparently Leanne Womack, who sounds exactly like Dolly Parton. Just wanted to clear that up in case anyone was at home going, oh my god, they're Dolly Parton.
Clear that. Yeah. In an alternate universe, it was
Maybe
Dolly
it was
Parton.
Dolly Parton. Yeah.
Now, for those of you that are not aware, the Berenstain Bears, it was a...
Do you mean Berenstain Bears?
No, I mean the Berenstain Bears.
Oh, right.
It was a children's literature franchise created by Stan and Jan Berenstain. And so it was a series of children's books, and there were animated specials and stage shows and video games that all spun off from that. There was even at one point a live action film in development. Now, weirdly, a widespread memory of this is that the children's book series is not the Berenstain Bears, Stain, S-T-A-I-N. Yeah. It's the Berenstain Bears, ending with S-T-E-I-N. And again, you think, well, you just remember that wrong. Yeah. Just remember that wrong. But people have found, they've tracked down multiple printings where it is listed as Berenstain, S-T-E-I-N, on old issues of TV Guide magazine, on VHS tapes.
But is that just typos?
Even in academic journals, it's called Berenstain. Now, as you say, typos? Or something more sinister?
Or is it a parallel universe?
It's typos.
You think
it's just typos?
Yeah.
Just explain that way. It's mass typos.
Well, it's because Berenstain
Yeah.
sounds like an actual name. Berenstain just sounds stupid.
But it is Berenstain.
I know it's Berenstain, but Berenstain is probably just what your brain goes, well, that sounds more realistic than stain.
Okay, you can explain that one away. Fine.
No. It can't be! These are the same books. I remember the torn page, the mustard mark, the shit stain. These are my old books, but it was spelled Steen! It was spelled Berenstain!
Alright, let's see if you can explain this one. There is a mass invention, this is totally fictitious, of a comedy film from the 1990s called Shazam, starring the comedian David Adkins, also known as Sinbad. So there's this film, right, in which David Adkins, Sinbad, plays a genie.
Right.
Called Shazam. People remember this film in minute detail. People who've never met remember this film, Shazam, but it doesn't exist. Adkins himself says it never happened. He was never in this film. Now, an image of a VHS tape of the film was posted online in late 2016, end of last year, but upon closer examination, it became clear it was a Photoshop job, because actually someone was able to identify the body on the cover, which is apparently Sinbad's, as actually belonging to the WWE wrestler Chavo Guerrero.
But can't this just be weird people who like fan fiction, like those people that made up Jack Frost 3 starring Jared Padalecki?
A little reference back there to our Christmas horror episode.
Can't this just be one guy who's made up stuff and there's loads of other people go, yeah, I totally remember that. People are weird. They like to be part of a gang.
Okay. So one theory, people like to feel accepted. But why do people think that this film called Shazam happened when it didn't happen?
Okay.
So it has been speculated that they are in fact misremembering a film from 1996 called Kazaam, in which Shaquille O'Neal did indeed play a genie.
Yeah.
From Touchstone Pictures, Max never went looking for trouble. Trouble just seemed to find him. And now he's got a genie.
Make your 3 wishes.
Who just won't get out of his face.
Gotta want something, kid.
I wish I had junk food to the sky.
Shaquille O'Neal, Kazaam, rated PG. Starts Wednesday, July 17th at a theater near you.
I can't believe that Steel wasn't the worst Shaquille O'Neal movie.
So are they saying that in the Power Universe, Shaquille O'Neal missed out on that amazing role, and Sinbad got it instead?
And it was renamed Shazam from Kazaam. No, I think the argument is that basically you watched Kazaam and you just for some reason thought it was called Shazam because I guess again it's maybe it's like Berenstain.
It sounds better.
Shazam sounds more real, and for some reason people just thought Sinbad was in it. All right, now there's a few other. Those are 2 of the major ones: the Berenstain Bears and Shazam. But there are some other little ones, and I think we've already discussed this. But I'm going to sort of do a little test with the listeners because I'm just going to ask you a question. And once I've asked this question,
just say it out loud in your head.
Just say it out loud in your head what you're thinking, and then I'll
say it out loud in your head.
Say it out loud in your head.
Doesn't mean anything, but you know what I mean.
You can say it out loud or just think it in your head.
If you're on your own, you can say it out loud. If you're on the tube, you can say it in your head. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So the question is, Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
What colour is C-3PO? Okay, so just think about it. What colour is C-3PO?
And now I'm going to answer.
Go on.
Or sort of gold, is he?
He's gold.
Yeah.
But he's not gold. He's not. You think he's totally gold? Totally gold?
Well, the toy that I'm remembering is.
No. C-3PO, and I remember C-3PO being totally gold. He's a shimmering golden figure. Yeah. C-3PO is not all gold. In fact, the bottom half of his right leg is silver. Now, go look it up now. Google it now, C-3PO. Google
I'm doing it now.
C-3PO, silver leg. It will spin you the fuck out. Because all of a sudden, he does have a silver leg. But it's like you never remember that being
there.
The
first link I see is, fuck off, did C-3PO have a silver leg?
But he does.
He does!
He always had it.
That is weird.
He always had it.
He always had silver, but one of the issues was that the silver leg actually always reflected other things. It would reflect the gold leg, and it would reflect it in the desert, so it acted more as a mirror. And even the stills photographer, John Jay, came up to me one day and said, "Why are you wearing a silver leg today?" Now, he was the stills photographer all the time, and he hadn't noticed. So we went one stage further, or JJ decided, let's make it noticeable with a red arm.
And not just like it was sort of like light gold and it's sort of the same colour. No, it's proper silver.
Proper silver.
That is weird.
But that is like an alternate reality has now leaked
because
into us.
we normally see the leg in sand or something weird. It's R2-D2 normally covering up the leg.
Or is it an alternative universe, Tom? Not so
that makes
now.
More sense.
Now I've blown your mind.
That is weird.
Right,
that
so...
is weird. I'm going to find my toy now and see if it's the same. And now he's got a red arm just to make it...
Just to make it even more complicated. Now, we're getting on to a big one for me. And this was the thing that originally led me to discover the Mandela effect. So, when I was a kid, there was a cartoon, and I think it was actually from like the 60s, but it was repeated in the 90s. And it was a spin-off of Wacky Races, starring Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
Yeah.
It was called Dastardly and Muttley in Their Flying Machines.
Which no one ever remembers it being called that.
No one remembers it being called that. We'll get onto that.
Yeah.
So in this series, Dick Dastardly and Muttley, who are the villains from Wacky Races, they're now flying aces and members of the Vulture Squadron, a crew of aviators on a mission to... I'm reading this, you may be able to tell. a crew of aviators on a mission to stop a homing pigeon named Yankee Doodle Pigeon from delivering messages to the other side.
Yeah.
And it's a great fun series. They're always trying to get him, the pigeon, and they can't get him. Now,
got a good theme tune, isn't it?
It has got an excellent theme tune. And the theme song, I was convinced...
Well, sing it to yourself. So
again, if you know the show I'm talking about,
you must know.
Just sing the thing. So what I thought it was, and I was convinced it was, and I sang it as a kid. It went, catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Catch the pigeon. In fact, I thought the show was called Catch the Pigeon.
Catch the Pigeon.
But whatever, it's not. But okay, fine, it was called something else. But the theme tune definitely said. Catch the pigeon.
I mean, what else can it be?
Catch that pigeon now. Now, alright, I want you to just listen to this utter nonsense. Makes me furious.
Muttley, you snickering, floppy-eared hound. When courage is needed, you're never around. Those medals you wear on your moth-eaten chest should be there for bungling at which you are best. So stop the pigeon, 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 stop the pigeon. Ow! Nab him, jab him, tab him, grab him, stop that pigeon now! You, Zilly, stop sneaking, it's not worth a chance, for you'll be returned by the seat of your pants. And Clunk, you invent me a thingamabob that catches that pigeon or I lose my job. So, stop the pigeon, 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 stop the pigeon. Ow! Nab him, jab him, tab him, grab him, stop that pigeon now!
Stop the pigeon, nab him, jab him, grab him, everything but catch him. I was convinced.
Because catch makes more sense for what they're actually trying to set out to do. Plus, Google knows, you search catch the pigeon, and it shows Dastardly and Muttley, their flying machines.
Alright, so when I saw that it was stop the pigeon, it blew my mind, but again I was like, weird, I was convinced, but I guess I just misremembered. But no, as you say, if you look up that theme song on the YouTube comments, there's loads of other people saying, weird, I thought it was Catch the Pigeon. Why do we all remember it wrong? Why do we all remember it wrong?
Is it just because it makes more sense?
But would we all remember it wrong?
Yeah.
Other people would remember nab the pigeon or grab the pigeon or get a little pigeon motherfucker.
I remember when you brought this up once, like most people were saying, yeah, catch pigeon, and there's one guy who went, yeah, stop the pigeon, wasn't it? And you're like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, don't know. Right, so going back to the beginning of this episode, and I was talking about my Twitter conversation with Benji, and we were talking about the Mandela effect on Twitter, and I brought this up with him, to which he replied, it was Catch the Pigeon.
Annoyed.
I just saw this tweet and then the video, and I gasped because I was wrong too. Unbelievable.
Furious.
Why does he think it was Catch the Pigeon? So, okay, I was like, right, okay. So maybe for some reason, in Britain, it was Catch the Pigeon. Maybe they changed it.
Happen, yeah.
So, there's a few examples. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in this country was called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles because they thought ninja was too violent. But sometimes there's just weird ones as well, like Top Cat. Over here, when it originated on the BBC, it was called Boss Cat. Don't know why, but it was. So, okay, maybe it was just a weird little quirk and they changed it. No evidence of that whatsoever. The only time that the title Catch the Pigeon is mentioned online, nothing about it being an alternative title for the UK, the only time it's discussed is when people are talking about remembering that it's called Catch the Pigeon. If you go on Wikipedia, it says, you go to the page for Dastardly and Muttley and their flying machines, it says, the show is widely known as Stop the Pigeon or Catch the Pigeon, even though that's not the title and never has been. Why is it widely known as Catch the Pigeon?
Yeah, because if you describe the programme, I think it's called Catch the Pigeon.
But it says you can understand people mistaking the title as Stop the Pigeon because they're like, well, it says that a lot in the theme tune. Why would anyone ever think the show's called Catch the Pigeon when no one ever says it?
The thing I can get stressed out. The thing I can think of is that maybe for a year, Channel 4 or BBC One just accidentally called it that in the TV listings or something.
But I remember the theme. I remember them singing Catch the Pigeon. Alright, and this, I hope, this will blow your mind. And this for me is, I don't believe in parallel, I don't believe in chakras. I don't believe in astral projection and chakras. And I don't believe in parallel universes.
Yeah.
But this for me, this bit, is the strongest evidence for the existence of Mandela effect. So there was a thread on Reddit about this confusion, and someone posted. Someone was like, "Oh, I remember being Catch the Pigeon." Someone else said, "I'm from Romania. I remember Prindeti Porembelul, which translates as Catch the Pigeon. Apparently, it's Opriti Porembelul. Stop the Pigeon. I feel like I'm going crazy." So even people in different countries are remembering it as Catch the Pigeon in their own language.
Yeah, it's starting to freak me out now.
So, is a parallel universe seeping into our own, or is there a more logical explanation?
I mean, probably the latter, but,
So, there is no one all-encompassing explanation for all the various examples of the Mandela effect, but there are some strong theories for the various examples. So there's this idea that is a thing called misinformation effect. So if someone else says something incorrect and they're really insistent, it may sway the recollection of your own memory. So someone else goes, "Well, I remember Shazam," and then you remembered Kazaam, but your brain just goes, "Oh yeah, it must have been Shazam because they say it's Shazam." And that's especially if you don't have a clear memory of something to begin with.
Yeah,
it can kind of solidify in your memory incorrectly because someone else says they remember it that way. And there's also something called, this is getting very technical. I'm gonna have a sip of my beer.
Yeah, have a good down on that one.
There's something called confirmation bias, which suggests that people will go out of their way to kind of search for information that will confirm what they already think. So if I think it's Catch the Pigeon, all evidence I see is only going to convince me further that it's Catch the Pigeon because I'm a stubborn son of a bitch.
True.
So those seeking Mandela effects will often be more easily persuaded by other claims. And there's one very specifically that relates to the whole Shazam Kazaam thing, which is from Discover magazine, which says that Sinbad had a different movie out the same year that Kazaam came out, called First Kid, which, like Kazaam, involves the hero coming to the aid of a wayward boy.
Right.
Sinbad had also previously released House Guest, the film House Guest in 1995, the poster for which has an image of his head coming out of a mailbox, perhaps abstractly resembling a genie emerging from a lamp. So
I have to admit, I never thought we'd talk about Sinbad's film career as much as we have in this episode. But
Secret Service agent Sam Sims has a style all his own.
Sams, what is that? This is a black tie affair.
I know, sir, and I got it covered. I'm black,
I'm wearing a tie.
But now he's facing his most dangerous assignment, protecting himself from the president's son.
Definitely the most powerful kid in the universe.
He's just a kid. How bad can it be?
So there's lots of different things there. And so then all it takes is one person to say they remember a film starring Sinbad called Shazam, where he plays a genie. Everyone's memories jumble those same elements together and they all fuse in the same way.
I also think there's elements of if you see a picture of one thing, you think it happened in another thing. Like I was just reading up on Reddit, there's like people convinced that, in this famous Risky Business scene with Tom Cruise where he slides and he comes out sliding with his pants on. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
People are like, he's not wearing sunglasses anymore. Because he's not. In that scene, he's not wearing sunglasses. And so you're making the face. You're like, he was, right?
Yeah, he did. He was.
It's because you're thinking of this photo.
I know the picture. Yeah,
there's a photo of him.
There's a
wearing
very famous
sunglasses.
picture where he's doing a big cheesy grin. He's got sunglasses.
It's just
on.
thinking of another bit in that film where he wears sunglasses, not in that scene.
I remember him wearing sunglasses.
You see, so it's little moments like that where you sort of your brain remembers bits of another thing and you attached it to that.
Okay, fine. But then you've explained that. You go, okay, he didn't wear sunglasses in that scene. You've misremembered a previous bit where he does wear sunglasses and fused the two together.
Yeah.
Where did the catch come from? Where did the catch come from and catch the pigeon?
Or maybe we watched it and without realising it, there were so many elements in the episode where he does say, let's catch that pigeon, and you've just your 10-year-old brain has gone, must have been catch the pigeon.
Yeah. One thing I will say about that is that I knew in my mind that it was catch the pigeon before I knew what other people thought that it was that as well. Yeah. So it's not like, so in that case I wasn't misled by group mentality because I was just I didn't know it was incorrect, and I'm like, well, I'm sure I remember. I just thought that was what it was. I never knew it was a big deal, but until I found out it was actually Stop the Pigeon, did I start to question it at all? So independently, I came to the same totally incorrect assumption as dozens, if not hundreds, of others, which does freak me out a little.
That is odd.
It is odd.
I guess there's just so many people in the world that it's bound to happen eventually. But
I do not know what the explanation is for catch the pigeon. I cannot explain it away. Well, much like our previous Lost episode, we have posed many questions, answered
nothing.
None of them.
Do you have any realizations or?
Do you remember? I listened back to the first ever episode of Two Geeks the other day, in which you described it as an educatory tool. It is anything but an educatory tool.
That kind of went out the window.
But before we wrap up this episode, we have, and I feel like we should have a bit of a jingle for this. I feel like we should. Can you knock something together with your experience? I want like.
Geek update.
I was thinking like two geeks, updates. Kind of like you like the charts.
Yeah.
Two geeks update. Go on.
So the other day, I got to speak to, and
it would be weird if you spoke to him and didn't meet him. You could do it on the phone. I go. No, you did actually meet him.
Kevin Bacon.
And that's relevant
because we did the Tremors episode way back, and we know since then this wasn't the case when we made the episode. No. They are in the works. There was a Tremors TV series
for Amazon,
and apparently it's not going to take in the whole franchise of Tremors since the first film.
So it's going to ignore all the movie sequels
with Earl and Bert and all those people
since the first film. It's going to pick up where the first one left off.
But I spoke to Kevin, mainly meant to be about his new TV series, but I had to ask about Tremors, and this is what he said. Well, another potential Amazon project, which I'm hoping happens, I'm a really big fan, is a Tremors TV series. I just wondered, is that still something you're hoping to do?
We're still chipping away at that. I can honestly say that it's not dead yet.
Yeah, well, I know people have, the fan base for Tremors is fascinating, because obviously it's continued for this big life, and I just wondered...
It has.
Have you watched any of the other spin-offs and TV series and prequels and all the kind of stuff that's happened?
Some of them I've seen. Not everything. But someone asked me once, are there any characters that you've ever played that you would be willing or interested in revisiting? And that's really the only one, out of a lot of characters. And the thing is that, to me, what's interesting about that guy is that he was doing nothing, working as a handyman, and then because of this kind of extraordinary circumstance, he gets to, become a hero. So what happens after you become a accidental hero? 25 years later, where are you? And that's the thing that we want to kind of explore in the series.
Do you think, because Kevin says he doesn't really know much about the sequels, or really remember the sequels, do you think Kevin Bacon lives in an alternate universe where the Tremors film sequels never happened?
Yeah.
I think
that's what we're going to pretend is the case.
I'd like to live in that universe, I'll be honest.
Yeah, with all the graboids that flew, that kind of shit.
Well, if you are a first-time listener to Two Geeks, it's not always this intellectual. It's mostly
intellectual.
I mean, relatively.
You wish.
It's hard. It's normally a lot stupider than this.
Just listen to the last one.
Yeah. But you can find all 29 of our previous episodes on our website, which is twogeeks2beers.com, or on iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts. Go nuts wherever you get them.
29 dudes. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter, which is at 2geekscast for both. And please send us an email, which is podcast@twogeeks2beers.com.
Yeah, send us feedback or themes you'd like to see us tackle in future episodes, or just some guidance.
Just help.
Just help. Just some life guidance. Yeah. But please, if you enjoyed this episode or any of the 29 before it, go to iTunes if that's where you get the show. Subscribe, rate, and review us. It would take 5 minutes, but we would really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So now to play us out, and this again. I was wrapping up my prep for this episode, and this spun me out again. So it's Nelson Mandela by The Specials.
Oh, brilliant!
But a song that I was convinced was by Boney M.
Really?
I thought it was by Boney M. But turns out Liz Mitchell, who was the former lead singer of Boney M, did release a song called Mandela in the late 80s.
Okay.
So maybe there is an explanation for everything.
Well, you just got the wrong song.
I just got the wrong song.
That's
the explanation for most things is I'm an idiot.
You fucked up.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Adam Nutter.
And this is Greg Trout. Come check out our podcast, Nerds with Words. Adam and I talk about pop culture, comedy, comic books, movies, conspiracies. We're both comedians and we might make you laugh. Every week we welcome a guest from the entire spectrum of pop culture and science and comedy. You can follow us on Twitter at Nerds with Words 1.